Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure now to welcome Mrs. Eygló Harðardóttir, the Minister of Social Affairs and Housing and Minister for Nordic Cooperation in Iceland, where she has put much emphasis on equality issues. She was first elected as a representative to Alþjóðleg, the Icelandic Parliament, in 2008 for the Progressive Party. Eygló, welcome.
Ms. President Vigdís Finnbogadóttir, Ms. Prime Minister Gro Harlem Brundtland, and then Madame Fonsili. To actually be able to say this to women that had these positions and still have these jobs is such an honor. And it's such an honor to be with you today. It's a true pleasure. And to be a part of the discussion about gender equality and the developments of women's civil rights and our democracy. Today, this year, and next, and the previous year, all the Nordic countries have been commemorating the centenary of women's suffrage, the time when their women first acquired the vote and the right to stand for election on the same footing as men. Equality between the sexes as regards to the right to vote and to run for public office was one of the most important milestones in development towards a true democracy. During the period of 100 years that have passed, we have reached the point where women account for between 37% and 44% of elected representatives in the Nordic legislative assemblies. It is indeed a great achievement in this long struggle that the number of women in cabinets in the Nordic states does reflect these numbers, in spite of the fact that executive power is referred to as the highest glass ceiling. And we truly have women here with us, as I mentioned, that have broken through that glass ceiling. We want to achieve an even greater balance between men and women in politics, and we are eager to share what we have learned with women elsewhere in the world, in communities which cannot afford to wait as long as we did, over 100 years, for almost political equality. Political organizing on the part of women within political parties and women's movement has been one of the most vital factors in promoting gender equality in Iceland. It is also of great importance that women have always organized across borders, even when they could only travel by sea, and their correspondence took months to be delivered. By developing personal relations that often led to friendship and discussing country-specific experiences and best practices, women have been and are still empowered to act. This will not change, and this may not change. I had the good fortune of traveling to Manitoba in Canada this summer to celebrate our national holiday with the descendants of our foremothers and forefathers who immigrated to Canada. It was such a pleasure to learn about the personal communications of the Icelandic women leaders with their Western Icelandic fellow suffragists who were recognized in Canadian history as pioneers in the Canadian suffrage campaign. Such cooperation, such collaborative work has not the least benefited our small society, and last year, for the 6th year running, the World Economic Forum ranked Iceland at the top of their list of the Global Gender Gap Index. The other Nordic countries follow behind us at the top of the list. Well, this is a confirmation of the success that has been achieved in this area during the recent decades. And even though we still have a long way to go before we can say that men and women enjoy complete equality of status and influence, we can be proud of the ground that we have covered. The most celebrated and productive cooperation in the field of gender equality has been the 40 good years of Nordic cooperation, when each country benefits from the experience of the others. It also means that the Nordic countries are able to exert an influence in the international arena, not the least to press for greater and higher, more ambition for gender equality and human rights for women and girls in the post-2015 development agenda. The Nordic countries supported a standalone goal on gender equality and women's empowerment, as well as it being mainstreamed throughout the framework. And all do we share the same experience regarding the dynamics of this work. Gender equality does not come about on its own accord. It does not come because we wish for it. We know this. Despite all the progress, none of the Nordic countries is an equality heaven for women. Challenges remain, such as closing the gender pay gap, securing equal political and economic power between men and women, and eliminating all forms of gender-based violence. Gender equality is not merely a matter of justice. Gender equality is a matter of necessity, it is a matter of common sense, and it's simply smart economics, as Gro Harlem Brundtland has pointed out in her many speeches on the issue. We must stay on our guard and continue to let actions talk in sweeping away the barriers, formal and informal, until we know that women and men enjoy equal opportunities in all spheres of society. This year, we also celebrate the 70th anniversary of the United Nations. The principle of equality between men and women was established in its charter, and for a reason, as at the time of signing, only 4 of the 160 signatories were women. Despite this solemn pledge, still today, too many women are made poor and powerless when their rights are taken away from them. We owe it to all of us, not only our women and girls, but to our boys and men as well. We cannot wait another 70 years or 100 years for achieving gender equality, and therefore we should all work towards more collaboration, each one in their own field. We need to develop friendship across borders, as we are doing today, and continue to empower each other, as we will do in this conference today and tomorrow. So I wish you all a very fruitful discussion during this very important conference here. So thank you.